Everybody, welcome. I'm your host, Madalina Andrei, and I'm happy to be speaking with you today. This is our 38th live from xpath.NEXUS series, a series which has as main goal to become a place where we can share best practices in our industry, learn from each other, and most importantly, grow together. This event focuses on talent acquisition and retention strategies in a time of recession. We're all aware that the skill pool is limited, especially in some of the sectors, and businesses are caught in a never-ending race to compete for talent. And more often than not, getting skilled workers is not just difficult, but downright impossible. More than ever, it's a fierce competition for talent, requiring companies to adapt, and they have to adapt fast. And that's from various perspectives that we'll be discussing about. For those not yet familiar with xpath.global, it's the first sustainable marketplace in global mobility sector. To put it simply, it's the first e-commerce platform that enables the direct relationship between local expert providers offering specialized services like visa and immigration and tax and social security and relocation services, and corporate clients in need of such services anywhere in the world. We will have some great questions and no doubt answers in this session, thanks to the valuable insights of our expert panel here. I have by my side HR professionals from around the world, activating in various fields like oil and gas, maritime transportation, business outsourcing services, logistics. Before giving the floor to my guests, I would like to thank everybody for attending the session. Thank you for being with us. Please feel free to drop your comments and address any questions you might have during the session. We'll do our best to answer those as well. Now I would kindly ask my guests to introduce themselves, and we can do that alphabetically with Adesui Adeleke.
Thank you very much. My name is Adesui Adeleke. I'm a labor relations and people and culture professional based out of Vancouver, Canada. I currently work in the oil and gas industry, and I have about 16 years experience working in the HR space. So I'm looking forward to an engaging conversation on the subject matter today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adeleke. Adrian.
Hi, everybody. My name is Adrian Nicolescu, and I'm based in Montreal, Canada. Very happy to be here. Almost 20 years, more than 20 years of talent acquisition, international talent acquisition across different regions. And I work right now in the cargo handling business industry. And at the same time, everything that has to do with site decontamination and the environmental services. Really happy to be here with you all today.
Thank you, Adrian. Amanda?
Hi, I'm Amanda Simon. I'm a Chief People Officer here at the Briars Group. Talent management is obviously one of the areas that we support businesses with throughout Land and Expand. So hopefully a little bit of our expertise will help this panel here and those on the audience.
Thank you, Amanda. Saher?
Hello, everyone. This is Saher Usman, and I am the Area HR Business Partner for AP Mola Maersk for Pakistan and Afghanistan. And I am currently speaking to you from Karachi, which is a city, the big cosmopolitan city in Pakistan. And I bring to the panel a varied area of experience, both from talent acquisition, labor, and I've been a center of expertise for a lot of areas in HR. So I'm very happy to be here and looking forward to the session.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. We can start. So this is a very interesting topic, and I think we're living very interesting times. There are several changes in the international economic and social climate that keep us on our toes, right? We still see COVID aftermath effects. There is a war still going on in Europe. We have increasing energy prices. We have inflation. We have the Great Resignation that is still there. We have huge layoffs, mostly in tech industry, but not only. we have the quiet quitting, right? And we have a new generation that is entering the labor market, the Gen Z. And many experts are expecting a recession this year. What's going on out there, right? Where are we right now? Can you make like a general, from a general perspective, where is the labor market at this point? Amanda, would you like to start?
Yeah, I'd love to. So for us, particularly thinking about our business and how we support, our clients, what we've got is a bit of a mix. We've got clients that are kind of making panic decisions and letting lots of their back office go, usually in sort of the space. The technical space for us isn't really being touched, but it is, they are taking out HR for closing down those back office functions, for the accounts departments, etc. So for us, we what we're doing is building and looking at the skills gaps and hoping that our clients, and we can educate those to make sure that when they are thinking of streamlining and restructuring their departments, they're actually looking at the skills gaps rather than trying to reduce costs.
Mm-hmm.
So,
super. Thank you, Amanda. Anybody else would you like to add?
I think I'll just pick it up from where Amanda has just, enlightened us. I think post-COVID, and most of the people here would agree with me, the entire labor market has shifted. Mm-hmm. So one of the biggest challenges that we see is instead of candidates running after jobs, it's now the employers seeking out the kind of candidates that would be a right fit for the role. So that is one of the challenges that we continue to see, and it has continued to get bigger and bigger because of a lot of reasons, that we can explore throughout that. But this is where the labor market is right now. Not only hiring the right kind of people, but also retaining the right kind of people. Like you alluded to in the beginning, the Great Resignation is silently continuing, and it's not only concentrated in Europe or US, it is in all parts of the world now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
It's time for companies to kind of change how we operate, and how we look at candidates, and how we try to take our talent across the life cycle.
Thank you, Taher. That's really insightful. I'm not sure exactly. I can hear like an echo somewhere. I'm not sure where. I'm not sure if it's Taher or not. If you have like some headphones available, we can try and see if that's the problem. However, we have the first question. As in this competitive market, and most of the good employees need quick promotion because they are capable enough to handle, but in the perspective of employer, we found we're not able to retain the employees sometime. What can we do in this scenario in India is the question. I think it's a question related to the retention of the employees, of the good employees. Perhaps, Taher, you can continue with that idea. Hello,
sure.
Hello, Tushar, and thank you for your question.
Thank you, Tushar, for your question. So like I was saying in the beginning, okay, sorry, if I could suggest maybe if the rest of us can mute while one of us speaks, maybe that helps. I think that's echoing the sound. Yeah. So sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So we've all learned, right, during the COVID. We have COVID to thank for this, if nothing else. So in terms of retention, Tushar, what we've seen across, so in my previous organization and in the current one, what I've seen is that as soon as employers have started to become agile with time and innovative in terms of their ideas of how they utilize the talent at hand. So gone are the days when I was hired, for example, only to do talent acquisition. I would be more entertained and more challenged if you were to give me cross-functional exposure. If I was not only just an employee who can be used in one center of expertise, if I can now be plug and played in other parts, you keep me challenged, you keep me engaged. And, as we become leaner and as the organizations are going towards smart workers, it has become very important for us to have, the kind of right skill set. So if you look at it, all of us recruiters now are looking more at the kind of mindset the candidate brings to the table. It's more about candidates who are looking at for opportunities rather than bringing problems to the table. It is more about candidates who are ready to take risk. So that is
the attitude and not necessarily the skills.
Absolutely.
It's a major, yeah, totally agree, Sahar. And it's not happening just in India. It's happening everywhere in North America specific, as well. you see a lot of a big shift towards, looking at the attitude and looking at creating this type of teams, agile teams, and collaboration between different departments. And there is a huge gain in doing so, and having folks from and individuals working in different departments, participating and executing different types of initiatives in the organization has become even more crucial, right? In the past, mergers and acquisition departments were handling just mergers and acquisition files, right? So you wouldn't have a collaboration from HR in an M&A exercise. But nowadays, everybody participates in this type of exercises. Same thing for an ERP implementation, for instance. We are currently going through an ERP implementation in the organization, and each department is participating in this activity. So I believe that there is a huge shift lately, and this is driven mostly by the lack of talent, and also the realization of certain organizations that, look, you cannot always go and hire the what we call in talent acquisition purple squirrel, right? You kind of look outside of the box and try to have that look at the individuals and what they can bring around the table, and not just in their area of expertise. And that's a major shift. And COVID, we have to thank COVID for that, honestly. If there is a positive in silver lining in all this story, I think that companies had to adjust.
Which takes me to thank you very much, Adrian. Which takes me to the next question. What would be the main trends in talent acquisition? I think Saher mentioned internal mobility, right? There are freelancers, gig workers. There are a lot of options out there. And what about the talent retention trend? So let's focus on two major questions: trends in talent acquisition and trends in talent retention. Adeleke?
Thank you very much. I'll speak a little bit specific to my industry, where sometimes the kind of employees you're looking for are kind of mono-skilled. It's very focused on a specific aspect, specialized focus. That becomes even harder during COVID, because the pool has become a little bit it's shrunk a little bit. So you have to sometimes bring more carrot to the table in terms of compensation. So that conversation actually goes into compensation. You have to look at your compensation strategy and see if you're competitive enough. And I know a lot of organizations have had to do their compensation survey midway into the year, because what they have can currently not sustain their talent acquisition drive for the entire year. So that's happening. That's quite a trend that is happening, especially in industries where you need experienced folks who and you don't have enough room to train from the scratch. One trend in industries like this is for organizations to go into the training centers, to go into the colleges, to say, hey, we're not getting enough instrument techs, we're not getting enough millwrights. What's discouraging young people from training into these skills, such that we have more pool to pull from. So organizations are having to do that to make it easier to access the talent pool.
You're talking about like partnerships, right? Partnerships with
Yes.
colleges and universities.
Yes, that has always existed, but the conversation is becoming more pronounced, because sometimes you have to organically develop talent, and you have to go to the source to kind of ignite that process. So that's happening. And that will take some time to gain some traction, because at the least it takes between 1 to 2 years to train some specific skill set, especially in the skill trades, which is very vital to the talent community too.
It's not just about professionals. You're totally right. Like and it goes deeper into also all the conventions, CBAs that we have, right? Conventional bargaining agreements with the unions. I don't know for you guys, but for us, sometimes we can have in the same CBA different types of positions that the individual a person can handle during the day, and they will switch in the same conventional bargaining agreement from one position to another. So we need to look at it, and we are looking at it from different perspectives and in ways that we have never thought that we would look at the talent situation 4 years ago, right? 4 years ago, it was steady as you go, probably for a lot of us, and all of a sudden, everything has changed. Everything has changed, and you asked Madalena what we're looking at right now and what has shifted, especially in North America. What I see a lot for us in the United States and Canada, we see a lot of effort that we have to put in our EVP, in our employee value proposition. You have to differentiate yourself.
How do
right?
you do that, Adrian?
Well,
what would be the best ways to do that?
Well, start with your personas. Do it in a very, how can I say, not, in a corner and with a couple of people around you and just folks from HR deciding what is the persona you need to attract for your business. You have to look at together with the business. So there is a huge partnership that you have to build with the operations, with the business, so you can bring them in and try to have them as your partners in defining exactly how you're going to attract the talent in the future. I hear in our community here in Canada, in the US, a lot of companies starting to influence at the high school level youngsters towards different types
high school. Wow.
High school, yeah, and
vocational high schools, probably, right?
Everything. Yeah. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we're lacking talent and quality of talent in so many areas, from accounts receivables to machine operators, going to IT folks, and so on and so forth. So that education needs to start early on.
And
so mentorship, EVP, it's a lot these days in technology. I mean, a lot of investment, and I don't know, you guys in other regions, I'm pretty sure companies are so much into technology nowadays, and talent acquisition is the area where companies spend most in terms of improvements.
And also, I think if you look at the researchers that have come through, I couldn't agree more with you, Adrian. I think employer brand is one of the most important things in terms of not only attracting, but also then retaining the talent that you've spent so much in bringing on board. So if you look at the latest research data, it will actually come back to tell you that if you have a strong employer brand, it reduces your retention by 28%. And it improves your attraction by 53%. These are huge numbers we're talking about. And also, when you're attracting talent, it's very important to have market competitive benefits that you're offering. But if you have a strong employer brand, you actually have an edge over everybody else, right? If you're making me Google you, then that just speaks volumes about the kind of employer I'm going to, right? So instead of that, I will be happy to receive more information about you in my inbox when you approach me. So yeah, employer brand is the key.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
employer brand is the biggest part of our the client support we give. Employer brand, culture, those are the questions that we're getting asked by candidates in the first interviews now. If you think about 3 years ago, there was no conversations around policies, benefits, or it was mainly about the skill set, and they'd be trying to sell their skill set. Now for us, we're seeing our first interviews with the candidates, they're asking about our policies, they're asking about what our culture looks like, they're asking for evidence of it, and we need to, that shift that we're all, we're excited about, especially when, we got to talk about, HR got to talk about agile working and hybrid working, something we all know we've been working for decades to try and improve. Now it's shifted to not only flexibility, but how do you, what's going to happen if I fall sick when I'm at work? That would never be asked, definitely wouldn't be asked in your first interview 3-5 years ago. So we're having to move with that trend too. It's unusual, it's new, but we're having to adapt quite quickly.
Thank you. Adeleke, you wanted to say something. Yeah, please.
Yes, one interesting, Amanda, thank you very much for that insight. One interesting aspect of that situation you just mentioned is if you backtrack to an employee leaving his organization and going through that exit interview process, what I have seen over the last 2 years is the situation where we have shortage of skill, shortage of employees is made us realize where management or supervision is not good enough, right? Suddenly, employees now see that they can move pretty easily. And for those who have been kind of putting up with bad management, quote unquote, it's a time to leave. And that also gives the employer a unique opportunity to review what the management is like, what the engagement is like. It's not only a talent management and talent acquisition conversation, it's also about leadership. So looking critically at this, it's one of those issues that have come up through the current experiences, at least in many industries where suddenly people have that opportunity to flee from their quote unquote bad managers.
Thank you very much. We have a question from Raul. Just a second. Thank you very much for your question. How are the organizations prepared for the future crisis? Only layoffs, or they have any other business strategies? What do you think? Who wants to take that? Thank you very much for your question.
Very good question. I'd like to kick off with an answer there. Yeah, absolutely right. Layoffs are not the things that we are trying. We're not recommending that to our clients. We're trying to look at going back to the skills gaps, actually looking at how we can restructure the departments rather than descale them. What we want to do is give them a future during this crisis. Most of our clients are coming to us and they want to react immediately. We don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know how it's going to affect us in the future, with war going on and all the other things that are making our environments tough to handle. What we're suggesting is take stock, have a look for the future. So look at 3 to 5 years, looking at your business plans, and that's where we're seeing talent management specialists that are becoming more strategic. And I think that's really vital for this talent management to be successful and to adapt to the changing world, is to get them into that strategic and commercial view as well. And that's really helping, especially the small startup businesses, when they're working with us, we're getting them to not think about the now. Yes, it's terrible and things are going on. Think about how we're going to look at it in 2-3 years time. Mm-hmm. Most of us on this panel have probably seen a few recessions and other times when the companies were struggling. They got through them, and we should learn by the previous examples of what we did and what didn't work, and that's what we're definitely trying to do here.
Amazing.
And I wouldn't compare the last recessions that we had with this one, because we are in a completely different landscape with lack of talent, right? So there is an opportunity for us professionals in HR, a huge opportunity to get even closer to the business and be a partner and influence this type of decisions. Completely agree with you, Amanda. It's all about talent management. It's all about talent management. It's all about the connection between talent acquisition, talent management, and after that, operational excellence, and so on and so forth. So that connection has become so clear right now these days for everybody, and the right companies, right? So I'm not going to say that all companies think alike, right? So you will have some bad business decisions that will be made, for sure, right? But those companies will pay dearly if they're going to go and try to remove certain individuals without involving talent management in the discussion. So just that financial type of exercise that we used to have during recessions, where what is my SG&A? I'm going to cut my SG&A, and a CFO somewhere was designing all this. I believe that all that has changed, and especially for companies that look forward, as you're saying.
Super. Thank you very much. We have another comment and question from Chris Blair. What role do you feel company values and commitments to areas such as D&Y and ESG play in the retention and attraction of talent? Company brand can be adversely impacted by getting these incorrect. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, great question, Chris. Great
so
question.
It goes back into, sorry, Adrian, you want to go?
No, go ahead. I'll go after.
Okay, so it just feeds back right into the fact that employer brand, right? So this is what attracts and then keeps people on board. So what is the one, and I think everybody on this panel will vouch for the fact that what is the first question that is coming to us when we sit in a panel and we say, "Do you have any questions for us?" And the candidate goes, "Can you define your standing on DE&I? Can you tell a little bit about the culture that you're pursuing?" So you have to be on the right side of it. You have to be an inclusive and forever respect providing or employer for the candidate to be attracted to you. So one of the things that the researchers have shown for us for recruitment trends are actually indicating that psychologically safe workplace is a preference for all the new millennials who are coming in, the Gen Zs. They will actually ask. So mental health is a word that we hear more often. How many times did we hear that when we started working? Mental health was something nobody would even talk about. And now they actually ask you, do you have policies around it? What will you provide for me? Mental health leaves are something that we began to talk about. So all of this is actually feeding into your employer brand. And if you're not on the right side of it, if you're not evolving as an employer, then absolutely you will not be able to attract the right kind of candidate.
And to be able to communicate it properly so that it can reaches the right audiences,
Absolutely.
right?
And you know what works best is hearing from the horse's mouth. So if it's your employees talking about it, going out and say, so if you're actually providing it, and then people are going out and talking about it, there's nothing better than that in building your employer brand.
Yeah. Employee advocacy, right?
Absolutely.
Sarah, thank you very much. I would even take it even further than that, especially in a workplace where you have a multi-generational component. It goes beyond just the employer in the process of recruitment or on the website talking about it. The employees have to live it, regardless of the generation they fall into. So that continuous education and engagement with the workforce is very important because quickly a younger a person coming into the workforce can quickly see whether you're paying lip service or whether it's something lived within the organization. And even before then, there's so much information, so much reviews of employers outside there that you can find on the internet. I 5 years ago, it wasn't that detailed, it wasn't that graphic. So it's very easy to access, and it's that training and continuous engagement in-house has to happen if you are able to attract and most especially retain talented employees. There's a cost to this. If you don't, it hits the bottom line at some point, either through attrition or through the cost of bringing or replacing employees,
which is huge.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna share with you guys a small funny story, right?
We
3
love
years
stories.
ago,
Thank you, Adrian.
yeah, a student, right, in an interview, and the first question, actually, it wasn't even a question; it was a statement from the candidate, from the student. If you guys don't have a diversity, inclusion, and belonging policy, I'm not going to join your organization. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So I think that for me, it was, again, coming from so many years of doing things in a different way, in the same way. All of a sudden, everybody realized, oh my God, we have to not just say it, right? We have to walk the talk. Because if you are just, and this is something, a downfall, right? So this is an area where you can go and become, on the negative side. You have a very good EVP, your social marketing is and talent brand is going very well. You have somebody who's very savvy when it comes to social media and building that brand. But after that, the employees and the management is not following up on that one. So that's very dangerous. So just putting something out there in the market and on social media, and after that, not doing it. So one thing, talking about it and having that strategy, that diversity, inclusion, and belonging type of a strategy, and after that, making it alive and actually everybody following it. I think that's the biggest challenge that we face right now. ESG, it was a part of the question, a great opportunity for companies, but in United States there are companies right now that are being pursued because they said exactly this, based on the ESG commitments that they're going to follow, and they're going to follow that, and they're going to do great things. And right now they are being pursued because they haven't, right? So it's companies, they need to pay attention. So it's a great moment to be a candidate. I would say, in the market.
It's a still employee-driven market, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We'll continue with this idea because we have another comment from Raza. EVP should be designed keeping in view different generation and demographic of organization to match the employee preferences. How easy it is to do that, actually, to take into account different generational cohorts?
When you build an EVP, and I'll go here, we just went through this exercise. I think that we have to kind of, again, in the past, EVP was good for 5 years. EVP nowadays is good for 1.5 years, 18 months, in my perspective, right? Because it's changing so much,
yeah.
And the perception of the people that we hire, of our candidates, changes so fast with everything that is happening around us at the socioeconomic aspect, that at the end of the day, you cannot just, build the EVP and say, this is it. It's, you open it up all the time. You look at it, and every 18 months, in my perspective, 12 months, you look at it and you try to see if you got this right.
Yeah, thank you. Adeleke?
Thank you very much, Adrian. In addition to that, I would say, how do we come up with these EVPs in the first place? There should be actually diversity in the process of developing and structuring those EVPs, because whether we like it or not, what the workplace looks like in 2023 will be very different from what it will look like in the next 5 years. It's very obvious. There's a great exodus from the workforce. I believe that's partly triggered by COVID and pension programs and all that. So I do believe, to make it even more relevant, to make it more impactful, there should be, like I said, diversity in the process of developing those EVPs, so that it can cater for the incoming generation of employees. Whether we like it or not, the Gen Zs are here. We have to find the best way to make that transition. And there's a lot to learn from that generation too. As someone who's pre that generation, I'm constantly trying to connect to see where the lines kind of connect and the needs which have to be met. Because, like I said earlier, if we don't do that, there's a cost to it, and there's also an opportunity cost to it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Going on I'm obviously in that same space where we're looking at, Gen Z coming in, and even our own unconscious bias when we're thinking about where we're going to go and how we're going to talk to these individuals. For us, an example, we have a great graduate that we hired recently, and during the interview, we're trying to, create this different style of the interview process. And I mentioned Facebook. And I was horrified to realize that apparently Facebook isn't that trendy anymore. And I had this
kind for of old people.
and I do believe it
this
was
is what they're telling me.
That is for old people. I was horrified, but you do learn. So we're assuming that we know, what these Gen Zs are looking at, but the look on, this chap's face was, it was educational, I should say.
Thanks a lot, Amanda, and everybody, for that. You mentioned a couple of times already several generations on the same work floor, right? What would be, first of all, let's discuss a bit about the compensation, benefits, and perks. Let's think about what was the situation like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and what is the situation right now. If we can make a comparison between then and now, in terms of what employees value and desire and need, and what changed and what is different. Saher, would you like to start?
Sure, thank you. So, what used to happen 3 years ago was exactly what a conventional offer would look like, where we would talk about basic compensation and some allowances, and, there you go, your offer is ready. But now it's more about including what do you offer while the employees at the workplace. the kind of benefits, the kind of benefits that you provide to them during the course of their employment. How are you managing the employee life cycle? So all of these things have now started to add on and add to that mix. If you do not have an established employer brand, then you have to do a little bit more to be able to attract the right
Compensate. Yeah.
because you don't have that negotiation room anymore. So like everybody, you are sharing your story. So when we interview the candidates, the first question that comes forward is, do you offer flexible working hours? Do you have remote working opportunities? Why do we not have location free roles available? So having worked at various organizations across my years, what I've seen is that the organizations that are open and agile enough, that have now shifted and are offering location free roles and are providing those remote opportunities, they get far better candidate pool than the ones who are still more into the conventional outlook of things. And that is adding on, so that's become a perk for us. That's not not a perk, actually, that's a necessity now. So and what kind of childcare support are we providing? What kind of again, fitness and health safety and awareness are we providing? So all of this has now added on to the package that the company brings forward. And so
by default. Yeah.
So it's not like, so if you're a good organization, this is what makes you a good organization. And all of this, and then the kind of workspace that you're providing, is it safe, is it secure, do I get to work in an environment where I'm respected? So all the tiny things are now adding on to the perks that you're offering. And like I said, it all ties back to the fact that if you have not established your employer brand as that of a caring, inclusive workplace, then you have to do a little bit more to be able to get the right people on board.
Makes sense. Thank you, Saher. Adeleke? Oh, Adrian, please.
Oh, go ahead.
No, please.
What, 3-4 years ago, bi-weekly pay, right? You would get your... Nowadays, where I know, Adeleke, if you've seen this in Canada, but in the United States, it's starting to become like the norm, right? You get paid every day. There are companies that are offering, HRS systems and payroll systems that are offering you the possibility to receive and to pay your employees on a daily basis. And this is a huge shift especially for labor type of roles, construction in different industries. And you see this happening, and it's a differentiator. It's a card that you receive from your payroll provider, and you're getting paid on a daily basis. So that's, just speaks volume to what technology can do to actually help companies when it comes to employee value proposition.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Adrian. On my side, I take it from two perspectives. From the union perspective, right? I constantly review rates that have been agreed to in bargaining, and I see a very huge jump in the rates that have been negotiated and achieved through bargaining. And looking into the future, I see a spike in the rates generally. But on the staff non-union side, I would say that things have started shifting. Not only because some of these compensation components were not part of the package before, but the desire to have them being put in black and white is more pronounced, right? They want to see it clearly. They don't want anything to be in any way vague. And this kind of tells you what's actually happening in the market. And closely related to what you just mentioned in the US, there's more desire for employees to want to be independent. A lot of employees are coming to realize, especially highly skilled employees, realize that, you know what, I could get a rate of $200 an hour or $1,000 a day. Why should I commit myself to any employment long term? And to add to that, it appears, especially for the I'll say the younger generation, the focus seems to be on what I get now than what's stated in the pension. Pension seems so far away from some of these professionals, especially those who work in like specialized area like IT, like in some specialized areas in engineering. They just want to get it now and then have to figure, they want to take control of their financial security in the future. So they believe this is the best way to address it. And employees or employers who are willing or who are looking for very skilled people have to be prepared for that conversation, and also have the structure in place and also the leadership support in place to be able to implement such a compensation strategy to get the best of employees to work.
Thank you, Adeleke, for actually hitting the nail on the head. It's the new norm is the flexible reward basket, right? Because the workforce that we have now with us is more focused on what do I get right now? Exactly. This is the question that they will have from you. So the reward basket has to be more about flexible rewards now. It can't really be the pensions and the provident funds and the gratuities of the world are not something that they're very attracted to. Because if you look at the average span that an employee is spending with an organization is 2 to 3 years. Gone are the days when people would qualify for a long service award. So now there's hardly, a handful of people you're giving a long service award to. So, the reward basket is something that we need to be on par with if you want to continue.
Thank you very much. Getting back to the retention strategies and the different generational cohorts, would there be a difference between younger and I don't know, more senior employees? You're talking about a reward basket here, right? Would you assign different compensation and different benefits according to different generations, or what do you see? What's the situation out there?
I think it's already happening in a lot of companies where you have a 2-tier or 3-tier system, depending on when you're coming into the organization, right? So for long-time employees who have received pension for a very long period of time, not having pension is like doomsday. But for an employee whose goal, even before picking up that particular opportunity, is to say, hey, I'm going to be here for 2 or 3 years, right? So I think I want 10% or 20% more in my base pay, right? So that's already happening. But to intentionally implement that will take a lot of will on the side of the employer to do that, because you will still find outliners like younger employees who believe in pension because their parents had pension, or because that's just how they see it. But it's a possibility. And for compensation and professionals, it's time to start looking for bespoke approach that would help talent management or talent retention. Like I said, it's a possibility, and I think we're equipped enough in 2023 to be able to do that. Of course, within legal confines, right?
It's about thinking differently, right? So the current circumstances are actually forcing us as HR community or as professionals, no matter what aspect you look at it, to think differently. So something as simple as a workplace, from personal example, I'll tell. We've recently had a conversation. So the meal is on the house. One meal is on the house for the organization. So now we're actually thinking, do we continue with that one meal on the house, or do we make that part of the salary package that we're offering? Because a lot of people are now working on a flexi work. So with the kind of, the benefits that we're offering, so this question came to our mind because people asked, I don't come to work every day. So how does this benefit me, right? So you are giving a meal, it doesn't benefit me. So from the company standpoint, we are actually providing a very good workspace where, one meal, a really nice meal is on the company and you get to enjoy it. But their standpoint, and this is the now generation, right? So they are like, how does that benefit me? Continue offering fancy meals. I'd rather take something home. So that's great, right? For a very long time, we've done things in one pattern that we know about, but now we're forced to do things differently. And that is actually what's needed anyways with the way the economic conditions world over are.
I think that's actually a really good point there with the meals. For us in the UK and a lot of the EU, those wonderful ideas of being agile and mixing up these packages, we've also got to think about the tax implications that go with that. So when you think that you've got a really great idea, right, we're going to offer everybody some kind of care package or help towards the cost of living, we then have to think about how is that going to affect that individual. It can't be based on the whole community and all the people within the department, because there's some on low incomes in the UK that it would actually directly affect their benefits if we gave them something like a reward basket or cost of living payment. So for us, we're forever having to work closely with our tax specialists to make sure that that wonderful benefit that we thought would, this will retain the staff is actually not going to be a detriment to them. So again, our job becomes even more complex when we're having to, navigate through these different generations and, what they want, and then being able to move the benefit quickly. And then we've also got to think about HMRC, governments, and, bargaining agreements, everything that goes with that. So I think our job's become way more complex than it was, 5 years ago.
Thank you, Amanda. Adeleke, you wanted to say something?
Yes, so Amanda actually touched a bit on it. Talking about cost of living adjustment is, I don't know, Adrian, I don't know about you. I live in the Greater Vancouver area. The cost of living is has always been a factor, but I have seen, or we have seen in the last 1 year, it's become even more pronounced.
Absolutely.
And making it more difficult to find skilled people, especially for someone like me working in the oil and gas industry. And I live in an outliner city. To get someone to come in from Calgary to take an opportunity in Vancouver is almost like moving an average cost of a home like $500,000 to in Vancouver upward of almost $2 million. So it's become more of a big conversation trying to get skilled people. And it's a struggle. We're constantly looking for creative ways to be able to bridge that gap. But in compensation, you cannot completely go haywire with compensation just because you want to make up for that difference. So it's one of the challenges we're currently having in getting skilled people, and it's a ongoing conversation where we're always looking for creative ways to bridge that gap.
And it has changed in Montreal. I can confirm to that. Like we're getting very close to the Vancouver market, and it's koala, how we call it, cost of living adjustment. It's hitting us everywhere, and everything that we're saying, I believe, goes back to listening to your employees and understanding what broadly the society needs. At the end of the day, when we talk about compensation, we have to look at the needs of at the social level, like at the individual level. And I believe that this is the most complex area right now in HR, compensation, total rewards, because cost of labor has increased significantly. So how do you present the data as a total rewards person to everybody to make them understand that if you are not looking at the cost, and if you're looking at the situation just from a cost perspective, cost of labor, and you do not input the lack of talent at your bottom line, right? You're going to lose the war at the end of the day. So it's a complex. I wouldn't want to be in total rewards nowadays because honestly, 4 years ago, well-being, telemedicine, and stuff like that, we weren't talking about. It wasn't top of mind. So for me as a manager, what was important was to give opportunities to my people to flourish, to develop themselves. Nowadays, it's all about well-being. How can I keep my people, in a safe place for them to be, healthy? And healthy is not just, the leg and the head and stuff like that. It's everything, because the impact has been enormous on society with COVID, and it's still going on. It's not going to go. It has awakened something in our minds, and it's not bad. It's very good in certain areas. I do believe that it's good. We're asking ourselves certain questions, and we're asking ourselves, should we tell our employees, you know what, it's you have been here for 7 hours and a half, go home, or close your computer, or stuff like that. So this is, I believe, it has become very, very important.
I agree.
But again, I wouldn't want to be in total rewards nowadays.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Adrian, you mentioned at some point a bit earlier that technology is a must, right? And it's something that all companies should bear in mind. My question to you, and I would leave this question with you for a couple of minutes. How is the available tech right now supporting the acquisition and retention of employees? Before answering that question, I would like to invite together with us Dana Teodorescu. She's a customer success manager with xpath.global. Hello, Dana.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Madalina.
Thank you for joining us.
It's been great. It's been great listening to this conversation and seeing the engagement as well on our online community. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing these insights. All of it became so relevant to me as well as a former expat, having lived in the UK and the US. So I truly appreciate it. But going back to your point about technology, and we know technology is an important part of our day-to-day lives. But the one particular technology that's relevant to this community is the HR tech. So I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our global digital ecosystem. And I have some messages in regards to the benefits it could bring for companies as well as the service providers interacting in this industry. So I'd like to just pull up on the screen. Madalina, if you can help me, thank you. The most important aspect for companies in the light of an upcoming recession. So we know we are in a cost-driven environment, and we recommend companies to pick the right tools to enable them to become as cost-efficient as possible. So here at Expat Global, for 7.5 euros per expat per month, we can offer you access to an entire global mobility ecosystem, which was designated to help save between 40 to 60% of expatriate costs. You can read here on the screen some of the benefits of our digital ecosystem, but I could talk about them for days. Our tools provide you access to an online marketplace with over 55,000 mobility services in over 183 countries. We offer assignment management and tracking, and global RFQ and bids. Through our digital ecosystem, you can get access to salary calculators, cost projections in over 11,000 cities. We also like to make use of AI and robotic process automation. So we use those for templates, automated workflows and tasks. And we also include tax calendars for expatriates. These are just to list a few most important benefits, but there's so much more that I could name, like cost transparency and keeping all actors in one place, from service providers to expats, HR, global mobility, all under one umbrella. I wouldn't be doing it justice if I would just spend a few minutes on this. So I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to a free demo. You can get your phones out and scan the QR code that you see there on the screen and book a free demo where I'd go through the benefits of our tools in more detail. So please feel free to use that. For those of you who don't have their phone at hand, we'll also share the link to my calendar separately. So you can also take that opportunity to book a free demo. And then my next message is really for service providers who are on the lookout for a new horizon to explore and new opportunities to seize. We're inviting them to join our global network of global mobility mavericks, where we'll connect them with like-minded experts and help them unlock new markets and enjoy unparalleled levels of support. As a member of our network, the service providers will get access to thousands of customers worldwide and also increase their sales and grow their business. And they'll have the opportunity to collaborate with experts in the industry, share expertise, and learn from their experience. So we also invite the service providers in the global mobility industry to take this opportunity and book a session with us. You've got, again, a QR code that you've got on the screen that you can easily access, but we can also send you the link, like you mentioned, in the comments section to make sure you don't miss out on the opportunity. It's just a short snapshot and an introduction into what we do and what we can provide you. We believe that HR tech will help you save costs. So please take this opportunity and follow the links to find out more.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity, Madalina. I'll let you
Thank you,
get back
Dana.
to your topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Technology in acquisition and retention.
Shoot, where do we start?
Yeah. Do we
So
use it? Do we use it? Do we use it enough? Can we use it more?
we need to pay attention, right? Depending, and it all starts with the type of people that you're hiring. And you have to look at the population, right? And do that level of granulation and see exactly what works for the type of people that you are trying to attract. Again, an example I lived through at the beginning of COVID. We used to receive CVs. We were opening a new office, and you get the CVs, and you work with the CVs, and so on and so forth. For specifically skilled labor roles, all of a sudden we have no CVs, right? And we realize that whatever we're doing, we're not doing it right. You look around and you see companies doing a lot of Facebook campaigns and Facebook ads and so on and so forth. So we get into the Facebook market, and we recruit via Facebook, and it's going very well. But we realize that the majority of the people that we're trying to attract, they do not have a resume. Okay,
Oh,
boom, and you get a lot of shifts like this. So this is just one example of what is happening. IT professionals, all of a sudden, you don't find them via LinkedIn anymore. They do not answer on LinkedIn, right? Because they get bombarded by messages from around the world from,
recruiters.
recruiters.
But
So
surely you
all
find them
this,
somewhere else, right? They have
you
their
find them
own.
somewhere else. So this is where technology comes into place. This is where a good ATS, a good onboarding system that is, tailored to your needs is very, very important. Artificial intelligence to help you there where you need support in creating short lists and whatnot. And something that is very, very important that has changed a lot is this, right? Is the phone. At the end of the day, I don't want to make publicity to any mark, but the idea is that uh, nowadays candidates, they do not expect a phone call anymore. They expect a text, right? So we need to ask ourselves, do I have the platform that is enabling me to communicate with my candidate during their day? So having an ATS that has a text engagement feature added to it, this is what you need. Having an onboarding system that presents the organization, and you can give them the possibility to do this anytime from any type of a device to sign your policies. This is what you need. So again, it's a question of mix and match, and technology can help. And again, I feel that nowadays, if you're a tech, you like technology and you're an early adopter, you can test so many platforms in talent acquisition that are out there, and it's just going crazy right now with the development. One single point that I would like to draw attention to for those who are interested in doing it: pay attention to the legal aspects. And like you probably already know, but it's a lot of changes in terms of GDPR for Europe already happened, but right now in Canada and US you have a lot of shift, and we're following more and more towards the GDPR. So some of the organizations and companies that you see out there selling technology, they do not look at this aspect, and you need to protect your organization when you're looking at it. So this is, but it's exciting. I mean, you can get so many solutions from a talent acquisition perspective.
Thank you very much, Adrian, for drawing attention to the legal aspect of it, especially with regards to privacy, right? And which is a different conversation entirely, but
Totally.
it's worthy of mention. But just my point on technology is you said it all. Honestly, you've covered all the grounds on technology. But in addition to that, also, it is very important as HR professionals or as employers to be able to understand the importance of matrix, of HR matrix, so that you can get the right information and matrix that is very current. Before you could pull information every 6 months and make decisions on it. Now you have to do it almost on a monthly basis because the frontier is always constantly shifting, and then that would kind of address whatever strategy you're going to use or whatever software or whatever technology you're going to use. So it's important to know what's happening out there, and it's not always what you think, because the drivers, the factors are are becoming even more unstable, unpredictable. So the importance of having strong HR metrics, abilities or competencies of someone who's constantly scanning the market to say, hey, this is what we need to do in the next 3 months. This is where we need to go to find the skill set we need to run the organization, especially in an organization like mine, that we have different skill set coming together to make it work. It's a constant thing that someone in the talent acquisition team has to make their full-time job, trying just to knowing what's going on, because our decisions is based on that, and it kind of helps the organization as a whole.
So this is how data helps, right? So the more data analytics we rely on, the more accurate our responses will be. And I think the life of a talent acquisition person right now is the most on the edge, because like you said, every 3 months data is changing. And then when we have an organization where it's a mix of blue collars and skilled workers and white collars and all the legal implications in it, it's very important to be able to make the right decisions. And that's why technology has made life very simple. Like one of us was just saying that it's not, nobody's going to pick up the phone or look at LinkedIn. I will use my example. I did not land my current job because I have a resume. I landed it because and I wasn't responding to LinkedIn as well. I landed it because I received a very nice company dossier in my email where it had all the information, the culture, what the company is about, what are the progressions you're offering. And you get attention. You then look at it and you say, oh, okay, let's explore. And that's what people are looking at more and more right now. So for us as HR professionals, for both retention and for acquisition, relying on technology is the only savior right now, because the more we have data points to refer back to, this generation that we're working for literally wants us to give them proof points. So when you approach them, it has to be about something that you say, hey, this is ABC and this is what we offer. So very on the surface kind of a thing, with things that link back to data points. And all these and also how technology has made interviewing more easier. Somebody was talking about ghosting, so we get called for interviews but we never hear back. So that is happening because we're overwhelmed, because you advertise a role and you get 50 applicants and not one of them is something that you actually who are fit for that role. So now with all these virtual interviewing gadgets that we have, where you can actually hear what the candidate is talking about, because you don't get the mindset through the resume. You get the mindset through hearing them talk, by seeing what capabilities they bring to the table. So making use of technology is something that we need to do as as a need. It's not a want anymore.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
And we also have to thank technology for taking us through the 2 years plus the COVID, because without technology, we all would have been grounded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm not sure if you noticed, but time flew. So our session is over. Obviously, we did not manage to tackle all the questions that we had in mind, but surely we managed to cover a lot of the things that we wanted to cover. I would like to leave you with one last question, briefly and fast. It's early 2020, right? What's your vision? What's your prediction, let's say, for the most important challenge this year, and let's say also the next one, in terms of acquisition and retention of employees? Amanda?
Oh, so this is a hard one. I think for us, thinking about in our client space, the biggest it's got to be ensuring that our clients are protected when they're thinking about, reducing the size of the departments, trying to hire differently. So that's going to be a big target for us, because we've got to think about not only internally, but we've got to think about the clients that we support as well. So I think technology is going to get better, but there's going to be costs involved, and companies are not going to want to be able to spend it. So I wouldn't like to predict too much, because it changes so quickly now.
Thank you. Saher?
It will remain finding the right candidate for the right job, because the industry that we are in, where we are focusing on becoming an integrated logistics solution provider. So we have lots of facets. of the kind of roles that we have. So actually honing into the mobile talent, looking and hiring across, the world, and then offering the right kind of solutions for them. So I see that for us, and also globally, the way economy is and the way the taxations and everything is evolving, this is going to be, the next 2 years is going to be actually finding the right candidate at the right time for the right role.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Thank you. Adeleke?
Thank you very much. Two things. I would say succession planning and leadership development, because as talents are leaving the workplace, talents includes leadership too, and leadership provides the direction for the future. So you have to have the right leaders, the right fit, and the right organization. So that would be a challenge going into the future. How do you develop these leaders and keep them engaged and keep them able to handle the dynamics of the changing work environment? So I would say, succession planning and also leadership.
Thank you, Adeleke. Adrian?
Well, everybody touched on very important aspects, and you're totally right. So I don't know exactly what else should I say, but I would just, it's an old saying, right? In HR, recruitment starts with retention. That's where it starts. And I think, as much as I like my function, talent acquisition, and so on, but for an organization, recruitment starts with retention.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. So I think that would wrap up the session. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us, for the great valuable insights you have offered and you have shared. Thank you all for watching. In case you have any questions whatsoever, please reach out to my guests directly and connect with them. I'm sure they would be happy to connect with you. Feel free to follow xpath.global on social media and head up to the website xpath.global, book a demo session, and learn more about the sustainable marketplace platform and how it can be a game changer for your business. Have a great rest of the week. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.